Hello, Stephen. Was that our dog sitter?
Yes,
Just
it was
right.
very cool looking, standing down on the sidewalk and looking up
Up at the
at the
Monarchs.
Monarchs. Yeah, I took a picture with my phone and my camera. It's just a different angle.
We set the enclosure the Monarchs are in at the open window because they're all just drying themselves out, not ready to go yet. And the one that emerged yesterday was, we missed him. He must have been in there for an hour. So it was pretty frantic to get out. So we don't want to do that to them.
Good morning, Carrie. Good time to join. We are discussing the 4 monarchs that my parents had hatched this morning.
Oh, exciting, exciting. You'll be so excited. I just painted a monarch yesterday.
Oh yeah, not really.
Hold still, buddy.
That would be a feat. That would be a feat. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to get my
Of a monarch.
I'm trying to get my silly screen to show me Carrie, even if she's not talking, so that I can. Okay, Carrie, you'll have to talk so I can make you co-host because my pointer is missing you. Hello.
Good morning. Happy to hear
Thank you.
about more butterflies in the world.
Thank you for coming in early. Let's see, can we have you both as co-hosts?
Yep, should be as many co-hosts as you need.
Let's find out. Can we really?
Yep.
Co-host the world.
That means that Carrie and I get to fight about who is muted or not muted.
Okay.
Like
Have you ever done that, you two?
Have we ever fighted about who needs to be quiet?
Yes,
Nope.
I didn't think so. I think you both listen extremely well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've done a whole lot of fighting. I think that's
That's another point.
Where the fighting comes in.
Yeah.
She's our
We've done a
fighter.
lot of fist raising about things.
Yes.
Don't we all?
Well, good
Oh,
morning
we're all
to
together.
the world out there that as people come in, we are getting ready for Garden Artistry, which has our co-host, guest host, Carrie Yacklin, who's just signed in. And she and Sonia are longtime friends. As is almost always the case, the network is where things come from. You know, we want to know, well, who can we have teach people about this or present this or explain these ideas? It's always the network you reach out to, and the network in this case went right straight through Sonia to Carrie Yacklin. But for those of you who just joined us, this is a practice session, time to talk about whatever you want to talk about in order to practice using your chat, and maybe you raise your hand and making sure that your microphone and camera are off. We do have a co-host who plays what we call whack-a-mole and watches for cameras that pop on and microphones that pop on.
And both.
But what we want you to do is we want you to be able to participate. To sit and talk by ourselves is not what Steve and I set out to do when we put these together.
I could ramble for a long time. You give me a chance.
Yeah, but we really miss the old days of really standing in front of people where if someone wanted to ask a question, they could pop up and ask a question. So we have that figured out for you to do today through your chat button or your raise your hand control. You just got to find those. And you might want to find out how to figure out how to save the chat file, which I'm going to show you in a minute here. So you should have a slash through your video, meaning your camera is off, but you should also have a slash through your microphone. Your microphone should not be picking up sound or able to pick up sound. So click them. If you click them, there'll be a slash on them. And that's what you want to have happen. If you open your participants menu, participants, you'll get a list of who's there. And maybe you want that, maybe you don't, but in my version of Zoom, my raise your hand control is there. So I open the participant so I can raise my hand if I want to raise my hand and let the host know, because that pops you to the top of the list that you want to ask a question.
And the host that notices is Sonia.
Yes, and it might your raise your hand might be in reactions if it's not in participants. And if you open your chat window, there's a place where it says to everyone. Make sure it says to everyone. Don't toggle this switch to say to Janet and Steve, because we are blind.
No chance.
We are blind while we're presenting. We can't see that there's anything going on.
It's not just blind. We only have one keyboard, and can you imagine us trying to type at the same time? It wouldn't work.
It's an ugly vision. Ugly vision.
We're not that coordinated together where I could do right hand, she could do left hand, and we could type something.
Let's see how many years
I gave her an idea.
How many years would it take to do that? Anyway, when you type in that area, as soon as you hit return, that'll pop up to the top where co-host Sonia Nicola can see it and either get you an answer then. Sometimes other people who are on the chat can answer you. We've got a lot of very, very knowledgeable, experienced gardeners here. Or Sonia will line them up for one of our question and answer sessions. And there's a one-page outline today, which includes a photograph that Carrie Yacklin wants you to have so that you could follow along how she's talking about what to look at, what to see, which for us means what to design, what to put in a garden. But there are also at the bottom of that page, there are links to information about the other topics that we're going to be talking about today. So if you have any questions and want to ask them, now is a good time to do that. We got one by email from Amy. She said, "What is this? I don't know what this is." And we told her that's a Jack-in-the-pulpit ripening seed. So early in the year, you had those cute little Jack looking out from underneath his hood.
On that particular Jack, though, that might have been a big one.
Yeah, this is a green dragon, which might sometimes be 3 feet tall. And she said, "Well, I guess Jack-in-the-pulpit it would be, but I never saw that before." Jack-in-the-pulpit is one of those species that until it's old enough to make a female flower, a flower able to make fruit, it's just a male flower. It just provides pollen to others.
Just a male.
So, yeah. So yours was growing maybe a little bit each year, or maybe this year had a better year than it had before, good enough to get big enough. And the cool thing about Jack-in-the-pulpits is that they can go back and forth. In a good year, with enough energy that's stored from the year before, they make a female flower and they're female. If they have a bad year that year and they lose energy, or maybe somebody knocks their leaf off early so they don't get enough energy, the next year they're just male again. And they can go back and forth through their entire life. She also said, "And what is this? I think it's pokeweed. And if it is there any way to get rid of it short of poisoning it? I don't want to poison it. And I know I got to cut those berries off so they don't fall." Well, we dig them out.
And they're big rooted.
Yeah, they have
plants once established. And it doesn't take long for them to get like that.
No, not at all.
That's what happens when you cut off, though. You just keep producing more.
Janet had tried to dig it out maybe the year before and chopped off part of the top. So what it did was it sprouted 2 from there. But this that you're looking at right here, that's a lot of starch, If you figure that down here, you're looking at enough starch to produce 1,000 leaves. It means that you could cut the top off a lot of times and that's still going to come back. Even if you use one of the poisons, one of the herbicides, it's going to take a long time for those few leaves to absorb enough herbicide to kill that much root. So you might have to do it repeatedly.
That's a youngish plant.
Yeah.
Get it early.
Oh yeah, this one might be the end of the first year, the first growing year. But you can see that this is what the root wants to do. And does fabric stop them from growing it? No, this one was growing right on top of that fabric. But you do want to get the seeds off if you don't want it to spread too far.
The birds will come and get them. We saw at least 70 cedar waxwings around one big poke.
Yeah, I love the cedar waxwings. We always leave at least one poke. Right now it's over by the juniper. I'll always leave at least one poke just so there's something there for the birds. But I love those cedar waxwings. They look like bandits to me.
They're
such a rakish face.
So many subtle colors on them in their tails and on them.
Yeah. So that's how it works. Sometimes people email us stuff, and we love going through and saying, "Oh, which ones can we tell people about?" But what questions do you have now if you want to try this out?
And I haven't seen anything pop up into the chat yet. But we can vamp by discussing what the flower is that we're seeing. Is that a coreopsis? Because a lot of people I know are very interested in what flowers are up when.
I do not know which one this is. Do you know where you were when you took this one, Steve? It's from one of the older presentations. It could be.
It looks like Gaillardia the way the petal is cut, but
no, it's not Gaillardia.
It's too tall.
I'm pretty sure that this is from the old house, and it is what is its name? Gonna have to forget about it for a minute to figure out which one that one is.
I take pretty pictures and it takes me a long time to actually learn the plant sometimes. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one that is.
We stopped growing this one because it was pretty rank. The plant, not the flower. The flower was quite pretty.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
gonna lose it.
probably its leaf down there, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can't remember which one that one is. So today we're doing something different in terms of gardening. We're gardening through by seeing. Yesterday, hi Carol, if you're there.
Mhm.
It was really nice to have you stop by. And you said something to me that I should have responded to, but I didn't because I had not thought of it. She said, how did you see that? About a branch that we were using, about our blue branch that we use as a piece of art. I was taking out a juniper and decided that the structure looked pretty cool and I would keep it and use it as a piece of art in the garden. She said, how did you see that? I thought, that's the thing, is that people don't always see the same thing. And some people don't realize how to see. And what we're working on today is how to see what's out there in your garden, because that's one of the ways that you then see what you need to have different, what you need to change, what you need to do. And
We have, well, speaking of what you need to do, Carol, if this was the Carol you were referring to, Carol Corbin just says that last week I asked about my lemon lace sambucus and one section suddenly dying, and it was a borer, as you thought. I had to cut that section down to about 12 inches from the ground.
Wow, 12 inches down. Well, then it had gone a long way down. So probably you had borer for a couple of years. Most people don't recognize them at first because it might have been toward the end of the year that the leaves started to wilt a little bit, but by the second year there's more damage. And that's good that you got it now, because as we get down into the crown, we've lost a couple of elderberries when the borers had been in long enough that they got into the crown, because then they do in the buds for the next year, the dormant buds that
And they start damaging the roots.
I'm glad that worked for you, Carol. And Carol, you probably want to open your microphone. Did I see at the Waterford Library, one of our gardeners went on the Troy Garden Walk and brought us pictures of the walk. Was that your daughter or granddaughter's garden, the great big garden with the, let's see, there was so much art in that garden that made me want to run out and start buying some things. And the porch was done with chairs to sit on and tables to have tea. Was that your daughter?
She says yes in the chat.
Wow, what and from what I could see in everybody was asking questions about so many things that you couldn't get a word in edgewise, but it sounded like that was only a 2-year-old garden. Is that the case, that this is a brand new garden?
Yeah, she's talked to us about it a little
She
bit.
says that it was in the garden walk. It wasn't the one with the tea on the porch.
Okay,
Good morning, Shelley.
all right, well, that's kind of good, because a 2-year garden, I thought if that's what Carol was doing, my gosh, I'm surprised that she had time to do anything.
her own.
Do your own garden, or talk to Our Detroit for that magazine or anything else. Good morning, Shelley. Shelley and I were talking about Rattlesnake Master on text. A gardener that I know was in Grand Rapids in a garden and saw Rattlesnake Master, Eryngium yuccafolium, which is a yuccafolium, like a foliage kind of like yucca, but with a big collection of big white balls blooming on top of a single stalk. And he said, wow, what a cool plant. I said, oh, well, let's find out how Shelley's is doing. And there it was. I'll stick those pictures in next week.
When you said Rattlesnake Master at Meyer Garden, I pictured the guy near the wet area luring out the
calling rattlesnakes.
Come on out so we could have people here.
Rattlesnake Master was the title of our friend Buford Cranford's novel.
That's right.
About someone who used the plant for voodoo kind of uses. Very, very cool book. Kind of hard to get your hands on.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple of things to talk about too, besides the garden artistry to this week. And I'm hoping that we can keep it light. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And I looked this week at our lineup of things that people have been asking us about that we've been running into. And I thought, I want to talk about some fun things. I'm hoping somebody's got some fun things to talk about here.
Well, we have some good news from Cindy. Just sent me a chat that her using the library link to get to class this morning worked really well. So just an out loud reminder to anyone else, in case you're not already using just that one link to your subscribers, that is, that is always an easy way to get to class.
Oh, I'm glad that worked,
Yeah.
Cindy. Very glad.
That's the way it's supposed to for the subscribers.
Oh, okay. Hers was, Beth's garden was the one with the play set that was all those cool colors. Yes, very neat garden.
Oh, there was okay.
Don't you love it that people we know garden? That we were thrilled when Sonia got a house and said, "Can you help me figure out, what kind of things to plant and where to put them?" Wow,
We
she
kind
wants
of
to have a garden. We kind of expected it
from
but-
her, but
yeah.
then when Corey asked,
Yeah, Corey asked. Although Corey said very clearly, and I
Simple.
don't want to be out here working on this all the time. I said, well, could I come and work on it? Well, you can work, you go right ahead and work on it, Mom, but I'm not really into crawling around in the yard all the time.
he will pop dandelions. Huh?
Yeah, he does pop dandelions pretty well. That's gonna really bug me. I'm sorry, I keep staring at this plant and going.
I can't remember. I can't even remember what presentation it was from.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Z70, the Z7 image, but I can't tell
Yeah,
that anymore either.
I grabbed it while I was looking for pictures of Kurt, so I could go way
Okay.
back,
Oh,
way back.
it's not a scan slide anyway, I can tell you that.
How are people dealing with the mosquitoes? Gretchen wants to know. We met with some neighbors looking at gardens the other night, and I had my off in my pocket, and several people said, "Could I use your off?"
Go out on a boat in the middle of a lake and hope they don't follow you.
Yeah, that is one way.
When
to
I
put it.
was out fishing with the boys, we didn't get it until it got late and then crowded in.
Yeah,
But out in
definitely,
our yard, it's
definitely one of the worst mosquito years I remember. As who was it? Was it Janine who used to use the Skin So Soft? Was that what it was called?
something like that.
Yeah,
She had
yeah,
a bottle
hand
of it.
lotion. I had to go back to that because I hate having to come inside and take a shower every single time I go out just to
Yeah,
get
I
the
don't-
off. of
Yeah,
me.
but you have to put it on as intense as they've been
Yeah.
for us.
Thermocells. Yeah, those are neat to just sit on your porch and let the thermocell handle.
I
the
tried
mosquitoes.
one while fishing and it got too hot on my hip. I don't know what it did
Oh.
wrong, and so I don't trust it. If I feel hot while I'm fishing, I don't know. And it didn't seem to do. Maybe that's why it got hot, because I didn't have it in right, but it didn't seem to do much.
Yeah.
Well, we are at 8:30 now, so if we want to
Check it out here.